Hey mathematicians, how are you? Just want to work you through our data analysis looking at measures of center and spread. So in yesterday's math lesson, which was the 16th of the 2nd, we were collecting some data based on our times playing a game. So the game was called Escapa, looks like this. So we all had 3 attempts at playing this game. So you need to basically get the square and you need to drag it and avoid the blue blocks. And it tells you how many seconds you survived for. So we had 3 attempts and we recorded our times to the nearest second, just to make it a little bit easier for ourselves. So you keep going. I think the best time we had in the class was around about 17 seconds. So it was a bit more difficult in class. So we can see this one here was close to 17. So we would round that up to 17 seconds. And we collected the data and we put that on a spreadsheet. Now that spreadsheet is in Sector and I've got a screenshot here. So we can see the names of all of the students that were in the class at the time, and the yellow column is our attempt number 1, so the first time we played the game. Our attempt number 2 is in blue and our attempt number 3 is in green. So these are our 3 data sets that we're going to analyze today. So I'll move that to the side. So the first thing you want to do is you want to record the data set. So I'm going to start with the yellow data set, which is the first one. So in my book, I'll just be writing data set 1. And I'm just going to read down the column and document or write down all of the numbers that I read. So you won't be able to see that because it will be off screen. So I'll just put the numbers 2, 2, 4, 0, 4, 0, 4, 2, 1, 0, 4, 2, 1, 2, 0, 4, 4, 2, 2, 4, 1, 4, 1, 2, 8. And I can bring that back just to have a look and double check. So essentially, if I count all the numbers going down, there were 21 students. So there should be 21 numbers in my data set. So I'll just make sure I've got that right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Good. So if I've done that, then it's a good chance that I haven't made any mistakes. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to order the data set. So this is needed to calculate the median. So we need to do this sooner rather than later. So I'm going to have ordered set 1. And what I'm going to do here is I've got my unordered data set. I'm just going to go through and I'm going to find the lowest numbers in the data set. So the lowest number is 0. I've got 3 zeros, so I'll cross those out. And then in my new ordered data set, I'll just put 3 zeros down to start with. So my next lowest number is 1, and there's 3 1s. So I'll cross that out, and then I'll just put 3 1s. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 2s. So I'll just get that down in my ordered data set. And there's no 3s in the data set. 4s, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 once again. So 7 4s. And my last number in the data set, there's no 5s, there's no 6s, there's no 7s, but there is an 8. So I'll put my 8. So that's my ordered data set. So I'm going to do the same thing for the other 2 data sets to get 3 ordered data sets for attempt 1 and attempt 2 and attempt 3 in our game. Okay, so now I've got my 3 ordered data sets. So the first measure of center that I'm going to calculate is called the mean. Now the mean is the average, or I guess our standard average, of the numbers in the data set. And in order to calculate that, you need to calculate the sum of all of the numbers in the data set and divide by the number of values. So I'll grab my first data set and I'm calculating the sum of all of the values. Now to save time, I won't write pluses in every time. I should. I should be writing I should be writing 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 1 plus 1. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to save a little bit of time. I'm just going to literally write down sum of values. So then I'll get my calculator and I'll add up all the numbers in that data set. So I've got 3 zeros, so I don't need to add that. 3 ones, so 1 plus 1 plus 1. Oops, I need to move the calculator. There we go. 1 plus 1 plus 1. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 twos. So 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2. And 7 fours. And 1 8. So that's 53. And then for the mean, I will need to get my sum, which is 53, and I'll need to divide by the total number of values in the data set. So that was 21. There's 21 numbers in that data set. So we divide by 21. And that is 2.52, etc. I'm going to round off to 1 decimal place in order to keep my data nice and simple. So 2.5 would be my mean. So 2.5 seconds is my mean for data set 1. So I'm going to be doing the same thing for data set 2 and data set 3. So data set 2, grab that. And the sum of the values. So we'll grab sum of the values, go to my calculator again. So I'm going to be adding all these numbers now. So 3 ones and 3 twos, 1 3, 7 fours, 1 5, 1 6, 1 7, and 2 8s. So that's 74. And then to finish off my mean, I'm going to be doing 74 divided by the total number of values in the data set, which is 21 numbers once again, because 21 students played the game, and see what my answer is there. So divide by 21. That's going to be 3.5 seconds, and I'll again round off to 1 decimal place. So I just realized I made a tiny mistake. When I was adding the numbers for data set 2, I went a little bit too quick and I missed a 4. So the actual sum is going to be 78. So I'm just going to change this. So I'll just delete this and delete this. So if you move a little bit too quick, you might miss a number. So it's going to be 78. And then 78 divided by 21 is actually 3.7, rounding off to 1 decimal place. So 3.7 seconds. Okay. So we'll do data set 3 now, and I'll just remove data set 1 just to give myself space, which won't be an issue in your book. So data set 3, we'll calculate the sum of the values once again. So we'll clear my calculator and we'll do the green ones now. So we'll just make this a little bit smaller. Okay. So I've got 1. So we'll start that again. So 1 plus, I've got 4 fours, 3 5s, 1 7, 2 8s, 1 9, a 10. And you can see I separated my 2-digit numbers by commas just to make it easier to read. And we get a 16. So that ends up being 144. So my sum is going to be, is going to be 144. And then to calculate the mean, 144 divided by 21, because there's 21 values, that's going to give me a mean of 6.85. So I made a second mistake. This was actually 143, not 144. So I must have added an extra 1 in there. So I'll do 143 divided by 21, and that gives me 6.8. So that's going to be my mean for data set 3. So next I'm going to calculate the median. So the median is another measure of center. So the median is going to be the middle number in an ordered data set. So we've done the hard work already by ordering the data set. So I'm just going to count to the 11th number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this number here is our middle number in our data set. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And we can just check that it's the middle. So on the left-hand side of that number, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 numbers, and we have 10 numbers to the right of that as well. So we can do the same for the other two data sets because they both have, or they all have 21 numbers in the data set. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this is the 11th number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That is the 11th number. So that's relatively simple. So we can just write down for data set 1, the median is 2. For data set 2, the median is 4. And data set 3, the median is 5. Now, if you have a data set with an even number of values, for example, if you had 20, you would have 2 middle numbers. So just say, for example, for the first data set, these 2 numbers were both the median. If they're both 2, then the median is just going to be 2. Same case for here. If the 2 numbers were the same, the median would just be that number. But as an example, if these 2 were the middle numbers, 5 and 7, we would have to calculate the mean of those 2 numbers in order to get the median. So if this was the example, the mean of 5 and 7 is 6, so the median of data set 3 would be 6. But in this instance, it doesn't matter. I just wanted to give you that example. So here are our median values for this data set, 2, 4, and 5. So the next measure of center is the mode, and the mode is the most frequent value in the data set. So now, because we've ordered the data set, this should be relatively easy to see. So we look at data set number 1. So the most common numbers appear to be 2 and 4. So we've got 7 2s, and we've got 7 4s in the data set. So data set 1 actually has 2 modes. So it's going to be 2 and 4. And that is called a bimodal data set. So the prefix bi means 2, like a bicycle. Let's look at the second data set. So the most frequent number, that appears to be 4 because there's more 4s than any other number. So data set 2 has a mode of 4, and that is called a unimodal data set. So uni meaning 1, like a unicycle has 1 wheel. So that data set only has 1 mode, and that is 4. So data set 3, again, we look, what is the most frequent number that appears? It's the number 4. There's 4 4s in the data set, and that's more common than any other number. So the mode for data set 3 is 4, and that is a unimodal data set once again. So the last piece of analysis we're going to make on this data is looking at the range. So the range is the measure of spread, so how far apart the data is. So the range, again, with ordered data sets, it's relatively easy. We're just looking at the largest number in the data set, and we're subtracting the smallest number in the data set. So all of our data sets have a value of 0, so the range is just going to be the highest number. But I'll still put down the calculation just so we know how to do it for other data sets where you have a non-zero digit in there as the lowest number. So the range for the first data set would be 8 take 0, which is 8. The second data set, the largest number is 8, the smallest number is 0, so that would be 8 take 0, which is 8 again. The third data set, the largest number is 16, and the smallest value is 0, so 16 take 0 is going to be 16. So that's our range. Okay, so here's a summary of our data. So on the left-hand side are our measures of center, and on the right is our measure of spread. And the 3 colors are indicating data set 1, 2, and 3. So the last thing that we're going to do is discuss the similarities and differences between the measures of center and spread for the 3 data sets. So let's look at mean. We're looking at the similarities and the differences. So you can see that the mean increases from each attempt. So the first attempt of the game, the mean was the lowest, and then as we got better at the game, the second attempt was higher, the third attempt was higher. I would say that there is a large difference between dataset 1 and dataset 3. Dataset 3 is almost 3 times as large as dataset 1. There's a slight similarity between dataset 1 and dataset 2, and the difference is larger between dataset 2 and dataset 3. So that indicates the first attempt of the game, not so good. The second attempt, slightly better. The third attempt, significantly better for most people. So the median. So I'd say there's a similarity between dataset 2 and dataset 3, but there's a significant difference between dataset 1 and 2 and 3. The mode. I would say that the modes for every dataset are similar because they all have 4 as the mode, but we would note that dataset 1 is a bimodal dataset, so using that word is good because it has 2 modes, whereas dataset 2 and 3 are unimodal datasets. The range of the data, dataset 1 and 2 is the same, they have the same range. Dataset 3 has a significantly different range, or a very different range. It is twice as high as dataset 1 and 2. So the spread of data in dataset 3 is much greater than dataset 1 and 2. Guys, thanks for watching the video. Hopefully it provided some support for you for this task, and I'll see you next time.